August in review. There we are. We've finally done it. And it's the most on-time month in review video we've ever done in our life, as this is going to go out on September the fucking 1st. Whoa. How's it going, Piggy?
It's going good. We've just recorded like 8-9 videos.
We have done, this may be the 6th video we've done today. All done without caffeine. Banger.
Yeah. Well, no, I drank tea beforehand.
Yeah, I guess tea does have caffeine in it, but I don't really affiliate tea with, like, caffeine, I guess. Yeah, no, that's cool stuff. Finally at the end. And it's honestly, it's quite sad that all the videos we've recorded are just gonna be out this week. So it's not like we're set up for like the next fucking month. It's like, nah, you've recorded a week's worth of videos. Shit in hell. Nah, it's good fun though. It's good fun. We have fun with this. It's not a fucking chore. Although we are like a sad puppy at the end. There we are, Piggy. In a very brief way, how have you found August?
It's been a good month for EastEnders, I must say.
I do agree.
Could have been a lot worse.
Definitely. It felt like a very long month, but I think I was just personally, it's been a very long month for me. But it's probably been the most positive. Maybe not the most positive, but things are falling into place, I reckon. Like things are going decently right now. I'm not necessarily feeling the best. I'll say that much, but you know, as a whole, been a lot worse. So, yeah, there we are. What happened in August? Graham Foster's return. I don't know if he had 1 or 2 episodes, but he definitely had a very small stint where, well, essentially Freddie finally finds out who his dad is, as Tommy Moon tells him, and that kind of all blows up, but more on that later. Obviously, Freddie discovering that he is a product of rape, as Graham Foster did rape Little Mo. We got to see Yolande's return, Patrick's just love of his life back, and it's like she never left. She fit in amazingly. We got to see Caroline Johnston. You might go, who the fuck is that? It's Kaz. It is the woman who ran over Eve's twin sister, and thus causing a lot of trauma that Eve has never necessarily dealt with. We had Alfie Moon's prostate cancer news, the fact that he does indeed have prostate cancer, and his little partnership with Phil, that, well, it's just very wholesome, but it's obviously, let's be honest, lads, it's setting up the scene for Alfie and Kat to, I'm not saying they get married at Christmas, but they definitely get married at Christmas and have a wedding like the one they had back in the day in 2002 or something. Maybe 2002, maybe 2005. I don't remember. Peter Beale learns that Gina and Anna are his sisters, and this continuing with Peter's permanent return to the square as of now. Back with Thomas Law, the original Peter Beale actor. And there we are. Bobby Beale and Anna's first kiss. People think they're related, but they're not related, and it's perfectly fine, but people are like, oh, fucking hell, that sounds a bit fucking dodgy, that is. Stacey's house gets broken into as we ramp up the Theo Hawthorne villain arc, as in scenes starting at the start of September. Obviously, Theo is causing a bit of a fucking ruckus, causing some issues for the Slaters, and slowly easing his way into their life. And obviously, just at the end of August, we had Cindy Beale and Ian Beale's permanent returns. As they're back, they've entirely just fucking Just ruined everybody. And yeah, there we are. Whew. Should we start from the very start, Piggy?
We should.
Graham Foster's return and Freddie finding about his parenthood. Man, it does not seem like this week was, like, how the fuck was this still this month? Don't know if it's just me, because I had a very weird month, but does it feel like that happened this month? Or am I just gone wild?
It did happen this month, didn't it?
It did, but it feels, I don't know, it just feels like it's been a long time ago.
It does.
But yeah, essentially, through, basically, Freddie, as obviously him, Anna, and Gina have all been fairly close because they've been struggling with who their parent is before and, like, you know, about finding out if they're still out there. So Freddie obviously goes to do this and then finds Graham Foster, car dealer. No, when looking at it, I did notice that he did specifically say car dealership, you know. So he probably wouldn't have found out any of the news articles about, you know, the rape and the sexual assault charge that he was indeed charged with. It was interesting to see because Graham Foster felt fairly, when kind of mentioning what happened, he was still kind of like, well, you know, there was a bit of a misunderstanding, you know, your mum isn't all she makes out to be. So there was a bit more of like a villain type situation because he wasn't outwardly like bad. He wasn't like a terrible person in these scenes. He wasn't like painted as like a completely unforgivable guy. And even like when we were talking about it, Piggy just went, he doesn't seem like a rapist. It's like, yeah, that's a bit of the shock, really. Like that was a bit of the. It was a bit of like, it was how he was presented. He was presented as like, you know, he's just a regular guy. He's just Freddie's dad. And that's what Freddie thought until Kat, Billy, and Alfie all sat him down and went, hey, whatever you think you know, you don't know. And they told him the truth. He had a bit of a struggle. And, you know, it's all somewhat concluded at this point, I think. I don't think there'll be much more to it. Obviously, I think that Little Mo will come back at some point. Possibly like Christmas time, New Year. If the leaks are anything to be believed. But yeah, it was a nice little bit of serious storyline for Freddie, considering he usually is just like cheeky chappy Joe with Bobby type deal. How did you find the Freddie and Graham Foster, like, what did you think about it?
I enjoyed it. It was good. Not much I can say about it. He seems like a nice guy, Graham Foster does.
Yeah.
Until you find out he's a rapist.
Yeah, like it was it's kind of hilarious how, well, it was just interesting how they portrayed it, really. Like they went, he just comes across as a nice guy. Oh, he's done something absolutely horrific. Jesus Christ. I don't think we'll be seeing him back at all. I think that was between that and the Ryan Malloy stint, it was to just to set up another point in the story. It was nice that they brought him back, though, at least. It was interesting to see. But yeah, Yolande's return. A bit of like one of the more like silly storylines. There was some slightly serious stuff, how she'd left after robbing a church or stealing a church with her ex Anton, who came back. They had a bit of a confrontation. It was quite funny. And you know, Patrick had the line like, I have stronger tea bags in my cupboard stronger than you. Good line. I personally think she fits in exactly how she was. I just do think that I like how they've given Patrick a lot more like interesting stories to tackle this year. I do hope that they do actually allow her to be on the square and not just be on the square as, I'm Yolande, time to make a dirty joke with Patrick, scene over, you know. like how the like Fox Trueman clan has been much like a much bigger part of the square. I do think she isn't just slotted back into a very quiet role. And Piggy, you're someone who hasn't really seen much of Yolande, so
Yeah.
you really have much. Made much of an impression of you, or
No.
yeah,
No, she has.
bit of a shame, but like I said, she is there to be like kind of fun and give Patrick a bit more time on the show. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Tommy Moon's behavioural issues. This kind of coincides with Alfie's prostate cancer. Is that Tommy, he's been playing up a little bit. He's been continually like just causing problems. There was a big fun scene that I think kind of blew up where obviously Freddie confronts his like little like 10-year-old little dickhead mates. Where he essentially goes, "I've shagged your sister." And yeah. And this leads to a bit of like a strange relationship with Alfie where Tommy punches him in the stomach. And this kind of leads to him actually getting himself checked over and him obviously learning that he has prostate cancer. Piggy, will Alfie die?
I don't know. Do you think he will?
I don't think so. I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to give Alfie a big storyline, because Alfie's never really been one. Obviously, since his initial like stints, I know he basically he hasn't ever really stuck around for that long. Like he initially arrived in 2002, left in 2005. He then joined back in 2010 and left in 2016. God, it's kind of wild to think that I thought he left a lot earlier than that. Fucking hell. Why did he leave in 2016? Oh, they go to... Oh, it was for Redwater. They left for a spin-off where... Essentially, when Kat... I'm pretty sure when Kat had... When Kat had Zoe Slater... I think like she had a boy that they'd like left. Apparently they won $1 million on a scratch card or some shit. And then they left. They left to go find their son in Ireland to set up Redwater, and then he came back in like 2018. And he was a bit of a dick, but he came back in 2022. But to run around the very long standing point I made, he doesn't ever usually stick around for that long. Does old Alfie. So I could see him dying, just because I think that Chris Crenshaw loves the Alfie Moon character. But ultimately, I think it's just to set up him and Kat getting back together, because they needed an obstacle for Kat and Phil to not get over. I suppose speaking of Phil, obviously he's been kind of buddying up with Alfie, actually making sure he takes this shit seriously. So it's been a fun little like buddy like duo. And now we enter, I suppose, before you get into all of the night stuff, obviously the Theo Hawthorne stuff ramps up. Piggy, do you want to go through what happened with Theo this month?
He changed the locks to a door, to the front door.
Essentially, he's been slowly weaseling his way to be a little bit more closer to Stacey, and as Piggy said, he's changed the locks on the doors. And sorry, that was a really weird thumbnail of Ian. And And essentially he's putting himself in a position where he can comfort her. And I'm sure he hopes that one day, like, he believes he's the best thing that's happened to him. And he is probably gonna, like, try force Stacey to have sex with him or something, because he believes he's earned it or some shit. I don't know. He's just kind of the slightly, like, delusional, slightly delusional guy, right? Like, delusional stalker type. And yeah, obviously it's setting up a big payoff in September, so we'll get to that on with this week's podcast, whenever this goes out. Maybe next week's podcast. But yeah, and obviously the final and the biggest parts of August were the Peter return, which happened the third week in August, and then obviously the Cindy, Ian, and Peter all come as a package duo or trio return. That happened at the end of August. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Hold on. No, okay, we're good. Yeah, so obviously Peter came back as Thomas Law. We saw it in the France scenes that we saw, and we knew that Cindy is Rose. And you know, he arrives just as Bobby and Anna kiss for the first time, and he kind of wants to tell his sisters that they are his sisters, but he also doesn't really want to do it yet. And by the end of the week, you know, Peter's had a bit of a rough time, so that means that Cindy arrives on the square and then immediately finds George and is like, yo, are the girls okay? And kind of tries to talk him round, but he's just, the only way he could have gotten through what happened with Rose is by hating her. So now he could just kind of, that's kind of his permanent state. He really doesn't want his girls, like, anywhere near Rose, or Cindy rather. But it seems like they're going to be staying as she rushes out to meet them for the first time in 9 years. We got a really cool flashback scene where we got to see Fat Boy return. Because it was obviously taking place in 15. We're in the background. We heard Ian tell Peter that Lucy's dead. And yeah, by the end of the week, Ian essentially goes, listen, Kathy, I'm taking control of all the businesses, and I'm also taking control of the house. Whether you like it or not, me and Cindy are staying here now, so you either like it or you fuck right off. Oh. There we are. Any specific topics you want to delve into, Piggy? Any of the recent stuff you want to sink your teeth into?
Don't know, because I feel like we get pretty much our thoughts on Ian's return on our daily episodes that we did whenever this goes out.
Yeah, fair enough. If you do want to get a bit more of the important stuff, go ahead and watch the videos that obviously came out all through this last week. But yeah, there we are. This has been August in review. I think it was a pretty good month. It just kind of happened to be a fairly weak month for me personally. So I wasn't as invested. It took me a while to actually kind of get invested in the episodes as I was watching it. So I don't know. I think it was pretty good. I think it was very cool. But yeah, did you like it?
I did. Did you?
It was decent. There we are. There's another August in review. This one, a little bit more effort was put into it than last month's August in review. It's one of those things where it's a good mark of what actually happened in the month. And, you know, if I want to, like, go through and, like, recap what happened, I could just go and watch one of these videos a bit. So as much as I dislike doing the months in review, they are unfortunately staying on the channel. As it's just, you know, if somebody wants to quickly go through what happened in August rather than watching all of the fucking podcasts to go through it, these videos are here. take it as like a time capsule. Both we and the EastEnders are like dug under the ground, and you can unearth us at any moment in time and, you know, get the gist on what actually happened. But that is all. I have been Ash from Watching Walford, and I've been joined by Piggy.
Bonjour. Again, follow us on Twitch, follow us on YouTube, or no, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Watching Walford, and follow us or subscribe to us on YouTube at Watching Walford. We have been Watching Walford. We will see you in the next one.
Bye bye.